It's an important week for the drivers as they begin their final test ahead of the new Formula One season. We can go live to Barcelona and join Rachel Brooks at the circuit. Very good morning to you, Rachel. What can we expect to learn about the teams this week?
Well, you mentioned an important week, Alex. It's very, very important. It's just 4 days left now of running before the teams have to take these cars to Australia and get on track for the first race of the 2017 season. And there's an awful lot of work to do for some of the teams. Mercedes, of course, finished the first test with the fastest time and completed the most laps. We saw Lewis Hamilton arriving this morning to come into the garage here. He's doing the running for Mercedes in this morning's session, and then Valtteri Bottas will take over for the afternoon. Lewis, of course, missed that final morning in Barcelona last week. There was an electrical issue in the Mercedes that kept him out of the car. They had about 50 minutes to run just before the lunch break, and he chose not to take that time, and Valtteri Bottas took it instead. Now, Mercedes, of course, has given some hope to their rivals if they do have some niggles. There are also talk possibly of engine concerns back at base. That might give the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari a little bit of hope ahead of the season. Ferrari went well, of course, last week. Kimi and Sebastian both gave a cautious thumbs up, if you like, to the SF70H, the Ferrari challenger for this year. But we've seen Ferrari perform well at winter testing before and then not be able to deliver when it comes to the races. So we'll wait and see on that one. Red Bull last week were running without many appendages on their car. Adrian Newey, design chief, said that they were basically doing it to work out the airflow around the car, and then they'll start adding the bits on that we'll see on a lot of the cars this year. The shark fins are back this week, I'm afraid. The cars have all been out on track this morning and they're all carrying them, and they're also carrying little T-wings that you see at the back of the car as the teams try and work out the best way to get the air to flow around the car and also provide some stability into the corners, because they're going to be cornering so much faster this year out on track. We already saw that Valtteri Bottas has knocked almost 3 seconds off the pole lap around here at last week's test, so we'll see how quickly they can go this week. We're expecting to see a little bit more performance this week from the teams, but ultimately we're not going to know until they get to Australia. In the cars today, though, as I said, Lewis this morning and Valtteri this afternoon for Mercedes. Daniel Ricciardo's in the Red Bull all day today. Sebastian Vettel's got his hands on the Ferrari, as Esteban Ocon is in the Force India. Felipe Massa's in the Williams. Now, Lance Stroll, of course, had 3 spins last week in testing. He went home over the break and he'll be back in the car tomorrow afternoon for Williams, but Felipe Massa's got a day and a half first in the Williams. Danny Kvyat's in the Toro Rosso. Stoffel Van Dorn's in the McLaren today. Pascal Wehrlein is here. Now, he missed that test last week with a back injury he got at the Race of Champions. He is here this week and will be driving the Sauber, and we'll be speaking to him later on to find out just how he's getting on with that back injury of his. And we'll also hear from Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas today, as well as the other drivers here at testing in Barcelona.
OK, thank you very much for now, Rachel.
Pre-season testing is continuing in Barcelona ahead of the new Formula One season. Rachel Brooks has been trackside for us all week, but today she's been keeping a close eye on how McLaren have been performing today.
It's been another difficult day for McLaren, I'm afraid. They've started this test much as they started the last one, and that's having to make an engine change. Stoffel Van Dorn got just 34 laps in the car this morning before they realised that the problem meant another change. This was supposed to be a new for Test 2 power unit. We're waiting for confirmation from the team that that is what was in the car this morning and that is what needs changing. And it's not a good sign. McLaren have been through this before, but they weren't expecting to have to go through this again this season. Eric Boulier, the boss of the team, the team principal, is going to be in a meeting very, very shortly, and we're going to go along to that and try and hear from him and hear what they have to say about it, because this is not looking good for their 2017 season. Elsewhere, there were some good signs. We should start, I say, with Felipe Massa on track, because Williams have now put in the fastest time of this week. Not quite as fast as Valtteri Bottas's time last week, but it was the fastest time this morning. It certainly got everyone's attention. And he was on the super soft tyres this morning when he put that time in of a 1:19.726. And that was just 0.021 seconds off Valtteri Bottas's time last week, which was the quickest overall on the ultra soft, the fastest tyres. A lot of attention in the media centre was given to that lap when he went through. Prior to that, Daniel Ricciardo had been quickest till then on the soft tyres. He put in another quick time just before lunch of a 1:19.9. But Red Bull certainly looking strong this week. Everyone's been watching out for them. They didn't have too many fancy bits on their car last week, if you like, but this week they are going to be adding some new bits, some winglets. You'll see all sorts of stuff going on the car as teams try to find the best way to get the air to flow around the car and to get the quickest lap. He also had the quickest time on the straights, Daniel Ricciardo, so that Red Bull is looking promising for this season. Lewis Hamilton was out today, put in a 1:24.56 on the softs. Struggling, though, we noticed, as he was coming out of the chicane with the back end of the car. We saw quite a bit of drifting from that Mercedes as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as the day goes on today. Valtteri Bottas takes over for this afternoon's session. And problems for Renault. We're about to speak to Jolyon Palmer, but more problems for Renault this morning. He stopped in the pit lane with a sensor issue, but they've now realised they're going to have to change the power unit and that as well before Nico Hülkenberg gets in it for the afternoon session. So that's the morning wrapped up for you here in Barcelona. We'll be back later, having spoken to Lewis Hamilton and Jolyon Palmer as well, and bring you a roundup of what's going on track.
Lewis Hamilton cut a frustrated figure as he was unable to make an extended run around the Circuit de Catalunya in his new Mercedes. Hamilton says his car was unbalanced and was struggling because of the track temperature in Barcelona.
I wasn't feeling great today, but that's just with setup, and I think it's quite hot today as well, so tyres degrading and everything like that, and we had some damage to the floor, but I didn't have any offs or anything like that, which is a good thing. I did see puffs of smoke from other people going off, but fortunately I was able to keep it on.
When we went to the chicane, the exit of the chicane, there seemed to be a bit of movement at the rear of the car. Was that what you were feeling? What was going on?
Yeah, just a bit of an awkward balance today, and I think the temperatures are a bit higher today, so it's a bit harder on the tyres. And perhaps not having the car really in the window. But as I said, we're also having damage to the floor, which meant that there was good corners and not so good corners. So they're working on that to make sure that Valtteri has a clean afternoon. I'm not particularly massively excited at the moment, just because it's the first day of testing of week 2, and as I said, I didn't get a lot of running this morning, so I'm looking forward to the next couple of days.
So not much fun for Hamilton on the track today, but at least he has some company off it. He's brought his dog Roscoe to work. Lovely. The problems do continue for Renault. They were forced to cut short their session this morning and shut up shop early due to a problem with the power unit, which left Jolyon Palmer stranded in the pit lane.
It's annoying, I think, annoying, frustrating, all those ones. But you know, it's testing. We know this happens. I was pleased with the car last week, at least. So it's not all doom and gloom. I think we're in quite a good position, but it'd be nice to get more laps. That's all.
And it has been another frustrating day for McLaren. Stoffel van Dorn was able to complete just 34 laps before engineers spotted a problem, which will mean another engine replacement. So
Well, let's get back to Formula One testing in Barcelona now, and Sauber's Pascal Wehrlein returned to the track today after he was kept out of the opening pre-season testing due to a back injury suffered during a crash at January's Race of Champions. We can join Rachel Brooks at the track now. Rachel.
Yes, and welcome to the paddock. Darkness has fallen, and one final interview for the day. I'm very pleased to say Pascal Wehrlein's here. How are you feeling after your laps in the car today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. So, of course, my biggest concern this morning was if my back is okay, but I can confirm that I'm feeling totally fine, and I'm very happy about that. So tomorrow morning I'm back in the car and can't wait.
It's been a tough winter for you, hasn't it? Because the Race of Champions should be so much fun, and then to get an injury like that out of it that delays your chance to get into one of these 2017 cars, I imagine it's been quite tough.
I think last week was quite tough because I was here, I was feeling that I'm ready, but I wasn't allowed to drive, so that was the most difficult thing. And of course Sunday in Miami I missed the race together with Sebastian to drive for Germany, so this was difficult as well, but you know, the most important thing is that the recovery went fine, and now I'm back.
What are your thoughts then on these 2017 cars?
They're really quick, so especially fast corners, they're very quick, and yeah, just looking forward to more experience with the new team, of course, new engine. You know, I never drove the Ferrari engine, so there are so many things to learn for me now, and I will use the time I have this week to catch up.
Yeah, do you think you've got enough time to catch up? You'll be okay for Melbourne?
Yeah, I will be okay for Melbourne. I think so, yeah.
What about Sauber as a team? I know the aim, now there are only 10 teams in the paddock, the aim is not to finish in 10th place. Do you think there's a car this year? Have you seen enough to think that you can avoid that this year?
Not yet. So, of course, we are working hard, you know, to make the best out of this season, but we have to see. At the moment, it's too difficult to tell where we are in terms of performance. But I think after 2 or 3 races, we should know where we are about, and then we should set our targets for this year.
Brilliant. We'll let you go and get some food. Thank you very much. It's good to see you back in the paddock, Pascal.
Thank you.
Pascal Wehrlein there, who has managed to complete, as we say, those 47 laps today following that injury in the Race of Champions. Elsewhere, though, it was Felipe Massa topping the timesheets here in Barcelona, but there are signs this season's getting interesting. Red Bull and Ferrari both consistently quick. We'll have to wait to see how this week unfolds to find out who really is on top as we head to Melbourne.
Right, let's get...
Felipe Massa was the surprise pace setter on day one of the second pre-season test in Barcelona as Williams finished ahead of Red Bull.
Well, it was a frustrating day for Lewis Hamilton, who was unable to make an extended run in his new Mercedes. He completed just 49 laps and McLaren endured more problems.
Possibly the world's most well-travelled dog was in the Formula One paddock, but his owner, Lewis Hamilton, bemoaned a lack of distance, as he only completed 49 laps before handing the car over to Valtteri Bottas for the afternoon session.
I wasn't feeling great today, but that's just with setup, and I think it's quite hot today as well, so tyres degrading and everything like that, and we had some damage to the floor, but I didn't have any offs or anything like that, which is a good thing. I did see puffs of smoke from other people going off, but fortunately I was able to keep it on.
But at least he ran. McLaren were forced into another power unit change when an electrical issue cut short Stoffel van Dorn's morning after just 34 laps.
We obviously have had already a few meetings with Honda because we don't want to have a repeat from 2015 or even 2016, which looks so far we have. We want to be competitive. This is where we have to be, and we can't afford to be another year not being competitive and definitely, or at least affected by reliability issues.
It was a better day for Williams, who topped the times thanks to Felipe Massa's lap on the Supersofts just before lunch. And Ferrari and Red Bull were both consistently quick, but without showing their full hand.
I mean, at the moment, you know, there's no big secret or anything. We're not sort of holding 2 seconds in our pocket, but yeah, we definitely feel we can still get more out of the car. But I think probably everyone can.
They say don't read too much into times at testing, but you can read into reliability. And the Williams completed more than double the number of laps of the McLaren. There are just 3 days left now for McLaren Honda to get their season back on track before the first race in Melbourne. Rachel Brooks, Sky Sports, Barcelona.